They say money can buy everything: comfort, power, and even happiness. But what happens when all that wealth can't buy a single moment of peace or fix a heart that feels completely alone? That was the reality for Ariana Vale, the 24-year-old billionaire heiress who built her name on success, not on love. One rainy night, stranded on a quiet road outside her hometown, she had no idea that the man who would rescue her wasn't a chauffeur, a bodyguard, or a fan, but someone from a life she had long tried to forget. When the hood of her luxury car popped open, she didn't expect to meet Liam Carter, the boy she once ignored in high school, the boy who used to fix broken things with a smile, while she lived in a world that was too perfect to notice him. But that night, under the cold rain and flickering streetlights, something changed. And neither of them would ever be the same again. The rain came down in sheets, blurring the world into streaks of silver and gray. Ariana Vale gripped the steering wheel of her limited edition Bentley, frustration burning behind her calm, elegant face. The engine coughed, sputtered, and died for the third time that night. She slammed her palm against the wheel. "You've got to be kidding me." Her driver had been dismissed early that evening. She'd wanted to feel normal for once, to drive herself home after a meeting. But now, somewhere between Los Angeles and the sleepy town she once called home, she was stranded. Her phone signal flickered to one bar. Of course. Even the network seemed to mock her. She stepped out, her heels sinking slightly into the muddy roadside. Rain soaked her hair, plastering it to her face. The cold bit into her skin. She tried to flag down a passing car, but the road was empty, just endless miles of quiet asphalt and the hum of distant thunder. Minutes passed. Her pride was slipping fast. She opened the car hood, pretending to know what she was doing, though her knowledge of engines ended at press start. The smoke rising from the hood felt like a metaphor for her life, polished on the outside, but falling apart when no one was watching. Then, a pair of headlights appeared in the distance. A rusty old pickup truck slowed beside her. A man stepped out, tall, lean, with damp hair and a faint grease stain on his jacket. He had that look of quiet confidence that came from working hard every day, not from inherited wealth. "You okay there?" he asked, voice deep but kind. Ariana squinted through the rain. His face stirred something familiar in her memory. The sharp jawline, the green eyes, older now, but unmistakable. "Liam," she said uncertainly. He smiled slightly. "Didn't think you'd remember me. Ariana Vale, right? Class of 2017? Her heart gave a tiny jolt. Liam Carter, the boy who used to fix the school's computers, help teachers for free, and eat lunch alone under the bleachers. Back then, she'd been too busy being part of the popular crowd to notice him beyond a polite hello. And now, years later, he was the one helping her. He walked to her car, examining the hood. "Looks like your radiator's shot. You must have overheated the engine. I can tow it back to my shop, it's not far from here." She hesitated. "You own a shop?" "Started it a couple of years ago," he said, shrugging modestly. "Not much, but it pays the bills." For a moment, she stood there, pride fighting practicality. Then the rain reminded her she didn't have much of a choice. "All right," she said quietly. "Thank you." He hooked up the car, helped her into his truck, and they drove through the rain. The cab smelled faintly of motor oil and coffee. She glanced around. It was messy, but warm. Familiar. "Real." "So," he said after a while, "what brings a billionaire like you to the middle of nowhere?" She smiled faintly. "How do you know I'm a billionaire?" He chuckled. "You own Vale Innovations. Hard not to notice when your name's on half the billboards." She sighed. "Right. I guess it's not much of a secret." He looked over, his eyes soft. "You don't look very happy about it." She didn't answer. Instead, she turned toward the window, watching raindrops race down the glass. "Success doesn't feel like much when you're alone at the top," she murmured. When they reached his garage, he went straight to work on the car, sleeves rolled up, hands steady. She watched him, how focused he was, how he moved with purpose. There was something grounding about him. Something she'd forgotten people could be. Hours later, as he finished tightening the last bolt, she asked, "Do you ever regret staying here?" He smiled. "No. This town's small, but it's home. I get to fix things for people who actually say thank you. That's enough for me." She looked at him, really looked, and for the first time in years, she felt small, not in a bad way, but in a way that made her realize how big her world had become, and how little of it actually mattered. When she left that night, she handed him her card. "Call me if you ever need anything," she said. He looked at it, then back at her. "I don't think I ever will, Ariana. But thanks." That simple honesty hit harder than any compliment ever could. A week passed, but Ariana couldn't stop thinking about him. While her board members argued over quarterly profits, her thoughts drifted to the sound of rain hitting metal, and a quiet mechanic with green eyes who fixed her car without expecting anything in return. So one Friday afternoon, she drove back to that small town, this time, not because her car was broken, but because something inside her was. She found Liam at his garage. Sleeves rolled up again, music playing from an old radio. He looked up, surprised but not displeased. "Back already? Don't tell me the Bentley's acting up again." She laughed softly. "No. I just wanted to say thank you properly. For helping me that night." He wiped his hands on a rag. "You already did. Besides, that's what I do, fix broken things." She hesitated. "And what if it's not a car that's broken?" He looked at her, then really looked. "Then I guess we start by figuring out what's wrong." They talked for hours, about school, about life, about how time had changed them both. Ariana confessed how empty her success felt, how her parents' empire had turned her into someone she didn't even recognize. Liam listened quietly, never judging. In return, he told her about his struggles, how he'd dropped out of college to take care of his sick mother, how every dollar he earned came with sweat and sacrifice. But despite it all, he smiled. "I may not have much," he said, "but what I do have, I'm grateful for." That night, she helped him close up the shop. They stood outside, watching the sun dip below the horizon. The same road that had stranded her a week ago now felt like the beginning of something new. "Funny," she said softly, "how a broken car brought me back to something real." He smiled. Maybe it wasn't the car that needed fixing. She looked at him, tears threatening to fall, and whispered, "No. It was me." Over time, Ariana began visiting more often, not as a billionaire, but as a friend. She helped him set up a small business website, got him a new client base, and even volunteered at the local garage. Slowly, their worlds began to merge, his simplicity grounding her chaos, her ambition inspiring his dreams. Months later, when Liam expanded his shop with her investment under one condition, that her name not appear anywhere, he surprised her by naming it Second Chance Motors. "It's not just about fixing cars anymore," he told her. "It's about fixing people who forgot what matters." Years later, Ariana stood in front of that same shop, now thriving, filled with laughter, community, and heart. She realized that sometimes, life breaks down not to punish you, but to slow you down, to make you see what truly matters before it's too late. And in that quiet town, under the same rain-soaked sky where it all began, she learned that some things money can't buy: a peace, gratitude, and love that starts with kindness. Sometimes the universe breaks you down so the right person can help you rebuild, not with money, but with meaning.